Look at this pretty lithograph Jen got me.
Ooh, that is super pretty.
It's doom and bloom.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Artist out of Pennsylvania.
Awesome. We love to see it.
Hello, everybody. I'm Will.
And I'm Kristen.
And this is So I'm Watching RuPaul's Drag Race, Season 14, Episode 12.
Moulin Ru, the Rusical.
Moulin Ru. This was a good one. This was a good episode. So we had Moulin Ru, the Rusical. It was, I think, one of the better.
Yeah.
The gimmick was Moulin Rouge is just such a thing, and it's so ripe for parody.
So it's also a jukebox musical. So you can,
which Ru took advantage of,
which is great. If there's any excuse, it's this. It all worked. I liked it. There's so many where it's you're really I think Madonna has a really wide breadth of in her catalog, but you still are really shoehorning shit into Madonna to make it a cohesive musical. And this just already is one. I liked it.
You just made a comment about how Ru always takes the opportunity to make it about herself.
She is a narcissist.
And also they don't have to pay licensing, but
we love that about her.
Well, and it works because at this point it's they're earworms.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I have, before I started watching Drag Race, I had one RuPaul song on my saved list, and now I have 5. So I really like the "If I Dream All the Possibilities." So okay. It was. I almost said it was a drama-free episode. That is not true.
Not even a little bit.
So they were doling out roles. I think that production has been doing that on purpose to make drama.
Yeah.
Because it's been very sort of talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah.
In ways that there used to be.
Well, I mean, that's not entirely true. We've had this situation in previous seasons, but it feels like it's happening a lot this season. Yeah. And
everybody, it was pretty seamless. Everybody sort of fell into.
I mean, Andrea did say that she was I didn't get the role I wanted, but she also wasn't disappointed with her role. But Lady Camden and Bosco, man.
Woo. Yeah. It was very interesting. I get it. I ultimately agree with everyone that I think Lady Camden could have done Saltine, but I don't think Bosco could have done
the MC.
Yeah, and so she's just, I think, my favorite at this point. I still really love Bosco's looks. I like her style.
Although something that's interesting that I didn't actually note until Michelle said it is that she should not have been wearing the Bosco eyebrows for Saltine, and it did not occur to me. Until Michelle said it.
That specific critique didn't occur to me, but I kept waiting to see her not do it because and I think the logic, because if you've got a shtick, if you've got a gimmick, that's fine. I'm all for that. I'm encourage that. But I think Michelle was right when she was you're playing a character, you're not playing yourself, and that's because I was rooting for Bosco to pull this off. And when she came out in a black wig and a black whatever that costume was, it did not look like Satine. I was not a fan of it, and that's where I thought, girl. So I don't know if they picked those costumes. The costumes seemed yes, each. I was trying to decide if they were provided for them or if they brought it. Diabetes was very diabetes.
It was very diabetes. I don't know. I'm interested in that too because Willow Pills seemed too good for the Green Fairy for her to have brought that.
But it was very conventional, and I think Willow would have found some way to punk rock it.
A little crazy. She would have done the red eyes like Kylie in the movie.
We didn't get a single mention. I was mad. Well, I was just glad that the Green Fairy was a character, and I called it. I was like, Willow Pill.
Because I was thinking Willow or Georges, but Willow. Georges would not have been able to pull that off because she gets so anxious during all the acting stuff. I don't think she could have done it.
Well, and guest judge Andra Day she is up there, joins the pantheon along with Dove Cameron of like very good judge, because she's the one who was like, Willow's role was particularly difficult because she had to like play act losing energy while actually ramping
upping the energy. Oh my god, it was really awesome. It was really
they all really committed, because the thing is you can't be embarrassed because it's very silly. Like, it's very silly, and it's all pretty standard, but they did I think they all did a great job.
I agree.
Oh, but about their costumes, because I was going to say, actually, that Deja, especially when she did the rap, which they singled out, but I was going to say, I think that's one of the best that I've ever seen her look and perform. She was really good at that.
Totally agree. Totally agree.
The like silhouette, the costume, the wig, all of it. I was really
like kind
into.
of flippy on one side, but then really form fitting on the other. I don't know. It really, really worked for me. And even though we saw her basically upend 2 bottles of whiteout on her cheeks, her highlight was not insane this episode. It blended a lot better this episode.
Sure.
I just you don't highlight right here.
Okay. Like, so again, if that's your thing, then that's fine. Whatever.
Sure. That's the thing. She is at least being consistent with it.
I was just gonna say, I'm just surprised that none of the judges have said anything about it.
Okay. Well, that being said, we did get comments tonight that I've been waiting to get for weeks, specifically about Bosco wearing like a corset and panties and a corset and panties, and it's like the 4th time in a row that you've worn a corset and panties, and like it's not interesting enough, it's not different enough. You need to figure something else out. And so it's like, if you're wearing an identical outfit and those same eyebrows every week, you're not doing enough.
Well, because the thing that I get, that's her look for the runway.
Yeah.
Were we done talking about?
No, we can keep going with the other stuff. It was just like jump boarding off of the, like, we finally in this episode got comments that I think we should have gotten weeks ago.
Yeah. But I really like Lady Camden. Yeah. I think that she has such a good attitude, because she even got really embarrassed, and I was like, I don't think she should be embarrassed. And even Bosco was kind of like, no, if anything, I think I should be.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was
fucking Diabetes was so funny.
It was funny until she like made Willow be the tiebreaker.
No, but because Willow was trying, because it's the whole strategy thing where Willow won't do that.
Yeah.
And Diabetes was so funny, because when she realized, she was like, okay, I'll vote for Bosco solely so you have to be the tiebreaker. That was so funny.
But
and it was so like,
it's like everybody's argument was sound, where it's like, I think Bosco would be really good at Saltine. I don't think she could be the MC, and I think Camden could do both. So Camden should be the MC.
I also just, and because when it happened, I was like, don't get in your head about this. I was like, because it'll ruin you. I was like, and from the fan perspective, you're already the winner.
Yeah.
Metaphorically. And then
of this argument.
Yeah, proceeds to be literally. But it just sort of, there was something about like the taking the tally that I think is funny, because it was like an awkward situation, and I love that everybody had to participate in it.
Oh, yeah. And then especially the first person voted, and Diabetes was like, I'll keep count. What a bitch. I love it.
It was very funny. We had a guest judge / well, not really judge, but we had like a guest star with Leslie Jordan. We love Leslie Jordan. He is so funny.
So funny.
I was so glad he was in it, that he was the Duke. It just...
The queeniest queen. He is the best.
Because that's actually something I was going to say with Bosco was, I thought Bosco was good. For me, it was mostly the look. I think that if she brought a better look...
To the runway?
To Saltine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, you said Bosco. Sorry. I was just thinking about Camden. I agree. Yeah, the look was not quite right.
It wasn't, I mean, not that I necessarily think they needed to be carbon copies of the movie, but it's like
you're not going to do long Veronica Lake red hair.
I also wanted Georges to have gone more Christina than she did.
A little bigger on the wig. Yeah. Because we've also seen that wig before. Yeah.
So that's where I'm at.
That wig has saved her life.
At least twice, if not 3 times. That's my issue. enjoy the long season. I don't have a problem with lots of episodes because I like doing this thing and it gives me an opportunity to do it. Where I get a little frustrated is I feel like we're keeping people far beyond their expiration date. Because, and I, no tea, no shade, I do not mean this as negative, but I'm like, Georges isn't gonna win. Like,
so that's the thing for me is like, I'm at a point now where I think that Georges and Deja don't have a shot at like even top 4. So I'm like, get them out of here. And we just keeping queens.
Well, and because spoiler alert, Bosco got the golden ticket. It's like, I don't think Bosco's gonna win, but I think she has a shot over some other people.
So that's the thing is like, I enjoy her presence more than I enjoyed. Well, I like Deja's presence, but I don't really enjoy her drag. So it's like, I definitely like Bosco more than I like Georges. But also it's like Georges, Deja, and Bosco could all kind of go at any moment for me. And I'd be like fine with it. Even as much as I like Bosco, I don't know. I'm just sort of like, what are we, like, what are we, it doesn't feel like with the 3 of them we're building anymore. And it feels like with like Angeria.
If anything, we're stalling.
Exactly. And I feel like the rest of them, we're really still building in a way.
And
that's more satisfying to watch.
I don't think bringing the momentum to like a grinding halt is what like a competition or like a reality show needs.
Yeah, I mean, like I know we sent someone home last week, but like this is now 4 out of 5 weeks that we have sent 0 queens home, and it is a little frustrating. I am with you. I like the longer seasons.
I think this is the 6th week that no one's gone home.
Well, last week Jasmine went, but you mean so like
not in a row. Just
well, sure. Oh, God, yeah. I mean, that's too many. Like, at this point, I'm sort of like, okay, then get 15 queens. Just, like, start with 15 queens, and then we can do this.
So this was a little bit of an odd runway, it especially in the fact that we liked every single one of their looks better in Untucked than we did on the actual runway.
It also is like the 3rd runway this season that has had a really obscure theme.
Yeah.
Or like a theme that's like weirdly open to interpretation. Because like this one is mirror, mirror.
So when we saw this, Lady Camden, I thought it was fine.
Yeah.
It was really sort of backstage where I started.
God, you're right. It really does fade into the lights and the stage at the bottom.
Yeah.
In a way.
I didn't realize that her pants were blue.
No, it needs more light for sure.
It was backstage where I was like, ooh, I really like this. It was the little details.
Well, I like the, what's his name from the Claymation? It's not Jack Frost, but it's, no, not the moon. He's like, I don't know, like the Snow Miser or something like that from like Frosty the Snowman.
I kind of thought she looked like the Wiz. It looked like
that,
Glinda.
yeah.
Actually, they all kind of look like the Wiz. If I'm being honest, it was just a production of.
So I think this is a tie for my number 1.
Yeah, like I said, it was an Untucked where I was really sort of taking it all in.
Yeah.
And I was like, I like this a lot. Again, yes, we've seen that this is the 4th runway in a row. Yes. However, it is good. And that's what Andra Day said, where she was like, well, as someone who hasn't been here.
Yeah. I mean, it is good. I agree with that. I am just a little bored.
So here's my issue. If I'm seeing Bosco, if I'm going to a Bosco show, or she's popping up in something, she's emceeing something, whatever, I expect this kind of thing. I think when you are competing in a competition, you need to be pulling out all the stops,
which is
not just the greatest hits.
Which is a little bit my issue with a handful of the queens, because it's Bosco, it's honestly still Diabetes, and it's Georges. I have not seen like a full glam look from any of them.
Well, I would argue Georges has done nothing but glam looks. I think you mean like a beauty, like a gown. Yeah.
Like, because we watched What You Packin' with Maddie Morphosis, and I know that this is a controversial topipic, but her mirror dress was fucking incredible.
And it was a mirror dress.
And it looked like a fucking disco ball. So do what you will.
But I think Daya's gotten the closest to giving us the versatility, but she stays very in her
versatility for sure. I agree with versatility.
I also loved this wig on Bosco.
It's a good wig. It's fun.
She has a look that I go for. She has a look that I gravitate towards. a rare miss for me.
Oh, really? Because this is actually my number 3 of the night.
Really?
It's a relatively distant third, but it's my third of the night.
I didn't really care for it. I thought it kind of looked a little cheap, and
I mean, it looks a little cheap, but I still like it.
I mean,
the fireworks are fun to me.
I wasn't like this again, but
sure.
I kind of love this.
Number 2.
Number 2? Okay.
Or tied for 1, I guess, yeah.
I don't know if it was the implementation of the word mermaid, but it really sort of, and it is still very pageanty, but it did feel, I like the mirrored pieces.
I think my only comment is I wish that it did a little something extra at the top. I wish it wasn't just flat across the top of the wig. I wish it did like a little more flourish at the top, but I mean, it's just stunning. It's the closest we got to the Maddie Morphosis dress.
Andra Day is so pretty.
Yeah. And that's a nude illusion that works.
Yeah. I like this fine. It's well done. It's well executed. Again, I liked it a little bit better in Untucked because you noticed the, like, first of all, she had purple contacts and pink highlight and stuff. Yeah,
pink highlight all over the face. Wherever you would put bronzer on makeup, she's wearing pink highlight.
It's a little to be expected.
I do feel like we've seen this before from Daya, like even those couple of weeks ago when she wore the like kind of Road Warrior thing. It's not to say I think it's bad, but again, I am still sort of longing for like a full glam look from Daya Betty. Like I really, really want it. I mean, like keep the like, you know, House of Method makeup, but like I would love to see like.
Well, that's why I said I think we got it once in the red, white, and blue, where she was like the white as the Countess, but it was like that was the night of 40 looks, so it really didn't resonate.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like, and I'm very curious. It's one of the reasons why I'm a little anxious for like who's going home next and when we're gonna have a multiple elimination or whatever, because I'm like I do want to see a lot of these girls with their like, you know, 3 or 4 looks in the finale. I'm just sort of like, which one is it going to be? Yeah, I don't know.
Hated.
Really? Yeah. I just like, I'm sort of indifferent to it. It's not good. It's not bad. I don't know. It's just, it's like she's trying to be Lilu, but then also like an ice king.
It looks so cheap.
It does look super cheap.
That whatever this polka dot like black dress, and then like it looks like a costume shop. Like, and we've gotten that too much from her for me, and especially considering how much I liked what she did in Moulin Ru to then come do this, and I'm like,
well, and it's also like what Michelle said, where she's like, I just want to yank down on it to smooth out all the wrinkles and. I don't know.
I mentioned that was a high school production of The Wiz.
Yeah.
And I liked this. And I frankly think it's not just the same old thing. It is similar to a lot of what she does. But I think the wig, I love the wig. And
the wig is what allows it for me.
I like the weird shapes. It reminds me of, there was a Disney on Ice of Aladdin, and there were, in the big Prince Ali scene, there were like showgirls, and they had like spirally like gold, and that's just what it gives me. It gives me sort of like 70s like.
It is, so I will say it's a little bit different to what she's been doing, like a crazy amount.
The dark lip.
So it's very dark. I like that the legs and arms are covered to, you know, mid-thigh and almost totally up to the shoulder. It is still really relying on the body in a way. And the only reason that I like will fully allow it is the boots, gloves, and wig are like a real work of like negative space kind of. That part worked for me.
Yeah, I kind of, this is one of my favorites from her. We didn't mention, but I kind of love this look from Ru. It's
interesting.
It was a grower.
Yeah.
Because at first we were like, oh, and then we're like, oh, and then I was like, oh.
Well, when you see her just in silhouette, I was like, oh no.
This is a shape. And I love the wig. I don't know. I actually, the more we thought, the more I really liked this.
It works for sure.
I think, because I've been very vocal about my love for Bosco, but I think Lady Camden has.
So
I still think Willow Pill's really great.
If it depends for me if it's going to be a top 3 or a top 4, but I think right now, I think 2 of them, regardless, are going to be Camden and Angeria. I think that's going to be 2 of them. Whether it's half or 2/3, I think that's it. And I just can't figure out the other 2.
Well, I think Willow's going to be one.
I hope so. I really hope so.
Because Angeria was very front-loaded with her success. She has, I mean, I still like her. I still think she deserves finale, but she's faded into the background a little bit. And I think she knows that. She was a little kind of like, ooh.
Yeah. Well, they gave her really good critiques tonight. So I will see.
But she thought there was a possibility she was in the bottom.
I think she might be just that kind of person.
Sure. They were very gracious in Untucked. Bosco and Lady Camden really.
They weren't pissed at each other.
No, they they buried the hatchet.
Did that thing I hate.
So I'm glad you brought that up. It's your least favorite. It's what, considering that you do like this show.
I love it.
You have so many elements that you do not like about the show. They did the thing where Ru makes them pick amongst themselves for someone to go home.
Yeah.
And I think the only reason why it doesn't bother me anymore is because everyone has to do it.
Sure, of course.
It happens once every season.
Yeah.
So I just think it's a rite of passage at this point. Bosco wore it well.
She wore it well, and blessedly, this one took like 30 seconds.
George just couldn't have said her name fast enough.
They did. Well, George's
was so funny.
George was also the last one to go, and after everybody except for Bosco said Bosco's name, she was like, "Oh, I have to say Bosco also."
Do you remember?
And then she cheesed for like 5 minutes.
Do you remember when Maddie was lip syncing against Jasmine? And George's literally, they were going out to the stage, and George's was like, "It was so nice meeting you."
Oh man,
I love that energy because she's so not chaotic, but every so often it's. But well, like we said, we got the chocolate bar, the golden ticket. I just think it would be so funny if like next week 3 people go home, because then it's like all for naught.
Yeah, that's so many.
I think we have 16, so this was 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah, they're doing. What are they doing next week?
I don't know.
It's a classic. I can't remember.
Oh, a roast. Yeah.
Roast.
Yeah. It looks like Bosco's bottoming out in the roast.
Yeah, but they love to do
They love to do a weird cut. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, that was that episode of Drag Race, so hopefully we will see you back next week.